Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Bugs Bunny Gets the Boid. Released in 1942, it's the 374th in the series and is directed by Bob Clampett. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Gold Collection Volume 1 DVD set, on the Looney Tunes Platinum Collection Volume 2 Blu-ray set, and on the Bugs Bunny 80th Blu-ray Anniversary set. So, very obscure cartoon, you can't see it. No, just kidding, of course. So, plenty of ways to see it. You'll never see this on YouTube because it's not in the public domain, and Warner Brothers will simply block the short if you try to put it on YouTube. Don't bother complaining in the comments about me not showing the cartoon, because I literally cannot, and no one can. So in case you haven't seen this one, it's pretty straightforward. You got the mother buzzard directing her children to hunt a particular animal, but Beaky Buzzard, who actually isn't called Beaky Buzzard in this short, by the way, but let's call him Beaky because that's the name he was given subsequently. And she's like, you know what, just go get a rabbit, okay? And sure enough, he looks for a rabbit, sees Bugs Bunny, and he tries to get Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny knows that this Buzzard character's pretty stupid, so he messes with him. So it's pretty straightforward, sure, there's really nothing more to it. So first up, you're going to see a re-edit of the original commentary I did before I had to take that down due to copyright on YouTube and all that. After that, you'll hear some new thoughts from me on this short and a conclusion. So without further ado, let's get into it. And with me today are my two fellow Boids, Blue Genocide and Steph Stilly. Say hi, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, I got two things I gotta say really quickly. First, I love the title cards and the look of the backgrounds in this cartoon. Two, this is actually the first cartoon that features the McKimson model bugs.
I noticed that your bugs looked a little more refined in this one. It's pretty good. Yeah, let's talk about Beaky Buzzard. There he is.
He's one of the most underutilized Looney Tunes characters, and there's a reason for that, unfortunately.
I'm actually not the biggest Beaky fan. I don't hate the character by any means, but for whatever reason, this character doesn't connect to me that much. Like, it was actually one of my... They used him again in the recent Looney Tunes cartoon series. And, and I don't know, just Beaky doesn't do it too much for me, but it's okay. This is a pretty solid short, though. It's still pretty funny. I'll just let people know about Beaky anyway, just a brief introduction, that it's a caricature of Mortimer Snerd, which is basically a puppet done by, Edgar Bergen.
Edgar Bergen.
Yeah, because as you know from Fun and Fancy Free, and it's voiced by Kent Rogers.
And Fancy Free.
I like how Bugs is always reading a book, something to do with like hair-raising tales and hair this, hair that. It's always a nice little touch in the beginning of these shorts. I like the touch on Bugs' ears there, that antenna.
Yeah, I think Beaky Buzzard is probably my dad's favorite out of all the characters.
His voice is just extremely... His voice is extremely quotable, and like... you know what, Anthony, you're finally got the unpopular opinion in one of these videos that, you know, I'm not gonna have to like say something like really
Beaky Buzzard is definitely quotable. It's like, oh no, don't want to, no, and just, you know, the whole shyness of, you know, it is pretty good. But
I kind of like the other ones that don't have bugs in it. I especially like the last two that are done like really later on, like in 1950, where they kind of make him kind of outsmart the characters. I thought that was an interesting change up.
And I like the touch there that Clampett had Bugs do that whole ice skating on sand type thing. It was pretty good touch. Now here's the scene.
Yes.
You know, it's almost similar to a scene out of Harold Lloyd's A Freshman. This, I think, just is, I don't know, it goes on for too long and just stops the cartoon dead in its tracks, in my opinion. Like, it's funny out of context, but with the whole cartoon, I just think it just stops it. But that's just me.
In The Freshman, the joke is that he's playing football and he gets tackled and he falls onto a dummy, but he's like leaning on his leg, but he lands on the dummy's leg, so it looks like his leg's been twisted at a complete 90-degree angle, and it's absolutely hilarious, but it's just not as funny as it was then as it in this cartoon. I kind of agree with you there, Anthony.
I don't know. I disagree. I don't think it goes on long enough that it really holds things back. But
yeah, and I know. I guess it was that scene was to pay off with this part here, but you could have cut out the whole Bugs thing, and this still would have worked. I don't know, but anyway, it's not a bad thing. But
this is one of my favorites.
Yeah, this is I think this is Clampet's first like really solid Bugs cartoon.
So those are my original thoughts, and of course I had my wonderful guests Blue Genocide and Steph Silly. So as mentioned in the commentary, we already went through some of the origins of Beaky and where he comes from. I just wanted to also point out that the Clampett on the model sheets originally had the character known as the Snurdbird, which all but confirms the origins of the character as to which particular character he wanted his buzzard to imitate, that ventriloquist dummy. And as I mentioned in the intro, despite being known as Beaky Buzzard in the future, he's not actually called that in this short. If anything, his mother calls him Killer. But something tells me that calling a character Killer is not going to quite work out. So in this short, Beaky Buzzard is voiced by Kent Rogers, and he would voice him one more time in The Bashful Buzzard. So Clampett would direct ultimately 2 Beaky Buzzard shorts. Sadly, with the second Beaky Buzzard short, Kent Rogers had passed away during World War II, which is an absolute shame. If you watch a lot of the reviews around the time he was working at Warner Brothers, so around 1942, you can definitely see he was a major talent. So Beaky would then come back later in 1950 in 2 entries, one by Friz Freleng, one by Bob McKimson, and Beaky in those entries would be voiced by Mel Blanc, and they're not particularly great. I know I said in the commentary that I'm not the biggest fan of this short. I don't hate it or anything. But this short and its follow-up, Bashful Buzzard, are still way better than the attempt by Freleng and McKimson to bring the character back. Sarah Berner does the voice of the Mother Buzzard, and that is believed to be a take on the character Mrs. Nussbaum, and I probably butchered that name. But that character's voiced by Minerva Pius on the radio show, The Fred Allen Show, in the Allen's Alley segments. So she would do this particular sort of Russian Yiddish character in that radio show. So that is believed what Sarah Berner did here with the character. And she does a great job, even if it turns out it was actually something else. She did an amazing job on that voice. Very distinctive for this short, I'd say. I love the intro to how Beaky is set up to be the old one out of the kids. So you see the other 3 kids like, yep, we're going to get these big particular animals, and Beaky's like, nope, like he's just absolutely bashful, and she's like, fine, go just get a rabbit. It's just a nice little intro. I love it. And I love Beaky's little rendition of Arkansas Traveler while he's flying, and I love the direction that Clampett did of Beaky landing to get bugs. And Bugs references the B-19, and that's a real World War II aircraft, but the direction here, you know that Beaky's going to stuff up at some point, and you know Bugs is not in any real danger, but the way it was done, it's pretty good, I gotta say. And I love the look of Beaky when he's on the ground, and I think that's Scribner, but I could be wrong, but it's just this really stupid look. I absolutely love it. And then we have Beaky singing, "My mama done told me to bring home something for dinner."
My mama done told me bring home something for dinner.
For dinner? What's cooking? What's it you looking for?
It's
Very nice substitute lyrics for the song Blues in the Night, and then a little bit later we even hear Bugs' version, which insults Beaky, and Beaky's like, hey, wait a minute, I'm not an idiot, so there you are. But I love the stupidity of Beaky. Again, he's not my favourite character. I don't really connect with his character too much, but he's okay. Maybe I'm warming up to him more. I don't know. Now, Bugs says,
You naughty, naughty boy.
one of my favourite Mel Blanc deliveries is, "You naughty, naughty boy." And that appears to be a reference, according to what I've read, to the comedic character Billy DeWolf. And I was watching some footage of Billy DeWolf, and yeah, I could see it. But regardless if that's true or not, I love that delivery, and it's probably my favourite bit in this short, and just the way Bugs looks. And if you look closely at some of the animation, so he's got lipstick in the beginning and then just disappears, but it's done in a way where you don't really notice unless you're really looking for it. I also love how Bugs plays with Beaky's Adam's apple just for no reason. He just does it. According to Mockberry in his audio commentary, that sound was produced by a trombone by Treg Brown, and that's insane to me. I would not have picked that would be a trombone. I mean, at the time, everything was done in the good old-fashioned Foley way. There was no computers or anything, so the fact that he got that sound of a trombone is amazing. So the skeleton scene origins were already explained in the commentary, but I just wanted to point out that while it takes a bit too long from a story point of view, I think it just stops everything dead in its tracks, in my opinion. So isolated, the scene is actually funny, but amongst the other stuff in this short, yeah, it does stop the short dead in its tracks, in my opinion. But it is masterfully animated. The anguish of Bugs thinking that he's lost his body, and the vocal performance by Mel Blanc even saying, "Gruesome, isn't it?" And that's a reference to Jerry Colonna, by the way, who would say such lines. It's amazing, though, so I can't find myself hating that bit too much or anything. It's just, yeah, the contents of the whole short, it just takes a bit too long. But there's animation which I believe was identified as Virgil Ross, where there was like a bit of a scuffle between Bugs and Beaky. It's incredible, and even more so in slow motion. It just randomly turns into a jitterbug, and it's just done so masterfully, I can't believe it. It's a great piece of animation there. Now, Bugs mentions, "Why don't we do this more often?" And that's a reference to the 1941 song of the same name. And I don't know if the bit that Beaky says is another line from the song, but at least I know the first part is. And the ending is great. So Bugs is now seen as a hero, and the mother buzzard's like, "You are my hero," and kisses Bugs, and Bugs becomes pretty much the snurd bird. But anyway, all in all, again, this is not my go-to Clampett short. If anything, I do prefer the follow-up Beaky Buzzard short, The Bashful Buzzard, which I can't wait to revisit. But is this a bad short? No. It does have some story issues, mainly in that skeleton bit, but it's funny. And this one gets an 8 out of 10. It's funny. I like it. But just not as much as some of the other Clampett shorts. But let me know in the comments, do you like this one, or do you prefer the follow-up that I'm going to take a look at, hopefully in the not-too-distant future. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.